Shadows in the night under the starlit skies. Rebels in the moonlight, wandering souls. Born to raise hell with the devil's own might. Fulfilling the paper, running through the night. Nights of darkness, sworn to fight. Legends of the South, tales of old, legends of the whiskey road, stories untold, leather and steel, guns ablaze, riding on through the darkest day. Outlaws of the shadows, lost in time, born to raise hell with the devil's own might. Fulfilling the paper, running through the night. Nights of darkness, sworn to fight. Own might, fulfilling the paper, run through the night. Nights of darkness, sworn to fight. A fight. Rebel to raise hell with the devil's own might. Fulfilling the paper, run through the night. Nights of darkness, sworn to fight. A fight. A fight. Sworn to fight. A fight.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, calm down.
Yes.
You gotta say it calmly. You gotta say it calmly because Jim's here and we don't want him to know what a good time we have on Monday nights while he's gone.
Yes.
So,
Okay, is that good? Can everyone read that?
I'm supposed to read?
no.
No, I'm going to read it, but
Okay.
No. We have a
Okay,
breaking, hold on. We have a breaking news announcement. I'd like to turn it over to Jim.
yeah, I'm only here for a minute, and let me get back on that screen.
Right.
This came through, this was filed Friday, but came through a few minutes ago. Blue Bacon essentially won the lawsuit against Chili de Castro. The court now orders plaintiff's complaint against Paratini dismissed in its entirety with prejudice. Further, the court orders plaintiff to pay defendant Paratini additional monetary sanctions of $4,560. Paratini is ordered to submit the proposed judgment of dismissal and for monetary sanctions against plaintiff and in favor of Paratini.
Yes.
Earlier in the document,
So it is additional. I missed that.
yes, it is additional. So
Cool.
Chili's gonna owe Blue Bacon about 15 grand when it's all said and done.
Oh, I was hoping for $1 million.
Chili is live right now, and Chili does not know this has happened. He is completely oblivious.
Of
Oh,
course.
It would be so much fun to see
can we
if
tell
a
him?
troll.
Can we tell him? Can we tell him?
Governor material.
Let me just finish, and then let me get out of here for plausible deniability. Defendant. The court orders the dismissal of the case without prejudice entered on April 17th, 2025 on plaintiff's voluntary request for dismissal against Daniel Clement and David Omo. So it's with prejudice, or without prejudice, sorry. But the claims against Team Skeptic and Daniel Clement have been thrown out. All that's left is the claims against Kate Peter. The next hearing in the case is for the 14th of July, and that is a trial setting hearing, and it's just Kate and Chili. And Kate has said that she has not been served in this case, so we'll see if she actually shows for that. That's our breaking news. Again, Blue Bacon essentially won everything. So,
wow,
that's
congratulations.
Blue,
yes,
if you want to come,
yes, you did.
Blue, if you want to come up, we will gladly invite you up. Sorry, I'm talking for the host tonight, but
fine.
I would love it. I would love it if Blue would come up here.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. If you want to come up, please.
He's about to start driving.
Oh,
okay. So he can't chat at the moment. But again, congratulations to Blue Bacon. Congratulations to Team Skeptic and Daniel Clement. They are now out of this case after 2.5 years.
No, sure. Come on.
Do you? Let me. I will
send him a link.
Yeah, I'll send him a link. Give me a sec.
Send him a link.
I wonder, how would Chili feel as if a fake news outlet like myself was to drop the bombshell that, I don't know, maybe he is not this great grand law scholar that he thinks he is. Just hypothetical.
Well, we will be dropping the bombshell in the morning, and we've already dropped the bombshell everywhere.
Yeah, everything spreads like wildfire now. I'm sure it's all over the place. Yep.
But Chili is like an ostrich. He has his head in his own little echo chamber.
He's been up for like 4 days, hasn't he?
That's not what I call an echo chamber, but
I'm trying to keep us from getting limited because Jim gets mad.
Hey, if we got full after review, my nipple extravaganza was approved for all.
Yes. Yes.
I can't talk for that, but hello, Mr. Blue Bacon.
Hey.
Oh, hello.
Hey,
Mr.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Perfect.
Do you want to make any sort of statement? Can you make any sort of statement?
I don't really have much to say. You guys know just about as much about this as I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know that it says, or asks my lawyer, or instructs my lawyer to prepare another something or other. So I assume once that's started, that's when my lawyer's going to reach out, because he's pretty good about minimizing the cost to me, which means we sort of leave each other alone, and like very rarely, for about 30 seconds at a time, we'll make a phone call, do a very quick strategy thing of like, hey, this okay, this okay, we're doing this, we're doing that, great, because we're basically on the same page for most of it, which is really, really nice. But I assume I'll learn more in the future, but at this time, I know just about as much as you.
Yeah, you have the documents now that I downloaded, so you're at the same level we are. This came down apparently on Friday. It was posted this afternoon, and Chili's screwed. So,
yep.
His case.
Well, I'm sure that he's about to amend his ways and suddenly be very cooperative and become a functional excellent member of society. I have no doubt.
I do have a question for Mr. Blue Bacon.
Go on.
Do you think Chili will actually run for governor? And if so, do you think it will be for Florida and he will pardon Jeremy DeWitt to make him his personal security guard?
I would watch that movie. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
I will write that
However-
script then, sir.
Unfortunately, if he did run for governor and it was in a place where I could vote, I probably wouldn't vote for him. I'll tell you that.
Wow.
And we add the
I know.
news that last night he announced that he will be the first candidate for Elon Musk's America Party. He was serious.
And he has every right to do that.
Yep.
Yes. He says he will control the party plank if he becomes the first person to become a candidate under the America Party, whatever. Sue Bear, thank you for the
Blue.
$2 super chat.
Blue, can you see it? Do you have access to a screen?
Yeah, do you want me to say it?
Could you?
Yes.
Moist.
God damn, that is sensual as hell.
Oh, if that doesn't get you pregnant, I don't know what will.
I'm here for you. I'm channeling my, who was it? Blue Bear?
Yeah, Blue Bear.
There, yeah.
Yeah, I'm channeling my.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Mark.
Thank you, Blue.
Have you seen the documents yet?
Documents. Why do I get the few?
Okay, Chili
Right,
lost.
no.
We have Blue Bacon on the air because
I'm about to start
Chili
driving,
lost.
though. Give me 1 second, and the audio is probably going to end up being terrible.
Yeah.
But
You're always about to start driving.
yeah, it's true.
I am
Bad boy.
sending you the documents now, Mark. Chili
Am I going to have a wet
lost
dream?
probably because Chili lost everything and has to pay another 4.5 grand to Blue Bacon.
If he
mean,
doesn't
in
have the
fairness-
money, if he doesn't have the money, could Blue take the rights to the board game?
Well, okay. There are a lot of things to address there. First, he didn't. I wouldn't say he lost everything because the case has only been dismissed with prejudice, which I'm very excited about. For me, the other people
No,
that's
well-
still.
Team
I don't-
Skeptic and Daniel Clement, it was dismissed without prejudice.
Oh, I see. Okay, so, well, all right, a little wiggle room. And Kate Peters wasn't dismissed, right?
No, Kate. Kate
Okay,
says
they
she was
lost
never
everything. You got a
served.
chance, right? Well, you know,
Yeah.
there you
So
go.
the
And-
next hearing is with Kate, and it's the trial setting hearing, even though
Oh,
Kate
all right.
says she was not served properly.
Well, if she needs a strategy, she can always review what happened in the court minutes. Because it seems to have worked pretty well. As far as what was the other thing of whether or not I could get the rights to the board game? So that's not something that's currently on the table.
What
It's not
board
something
game?
that's, yeah. Well, I mean, the
Exactly.
theoretical, possibly, who knows, board game.
Yeah.
If it did exist, I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying, and just to be vague and unassuming, if it did exist, it's not on the table as something that has been offered, has been asked for, and it's not something that I intend to ask for because if I'm trying to recover the money he owes me, I probably want to attempt to recover it by acquiring something of value.
But he has nothing of value.
Yeah, it has nothing of value.
Well, I wouldn't, at this time, knowing the very little that I know about the board game, I don't consider it to be valuable enough for me to attempt to acquire it.
What
As
about
a
his
voter.
other thing?
Well, I wouldn't know what other things he has. I don't really pay that much attention to him anymore.
He
When
still
when I was
has.
under the impression that he was committing crimes, that's when I was paying attention. But I backed off. So you guys probably know more than I do.
He still has the 5A cop card product. He still has the trifold product,
Okay. Well,
which
I mean,
he gives away more of both than he actually sells. But still,
I feel like it would be. I mean, considering I believe I made a video explaining why those products weren't any good, I don't think it would be great for my personal image to then become the owner of them. And where
Oh,
would
yeah.
I put them? Like, I don't. I'd have to get a storage unit.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm sure it would be
Yeah.
wonderful. And I hope that he's able to offload them on some someone who needs someone is me.
You're breaking up bad, Blue. You just started driving.
Oh, give me a second. I'm in a.
He's going through that that zone.
Yeah, let's give him a second. So again, for those
He's
joining
going
us,
through the moist zone. Is what's going on.
yeah, Phil, why don't you tell him what just happened? Since you're the host.
What?
The news.
Recap.
Oh, recap the news. Oh, and breaking news: Chili's lawsuit against Blue Bacon has been dismissed with prejudice, with the possibility of additional sanctions being sought.
Well, no, he was
Not
ordered.
not
to
possibility.
Well, okay, but they haven't done it yet. They still got to make the file the paperwork. So.
Well, they have to claim it, yes, but
Yes.
Chili does owe another 4,600,
Yes.
I believe, round.
Yeah, isn't he up somewhere around 15 grand?
Yes.
15 to 16.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
happy birthday, Diver Dan.
Happy birthday, Diver Dan.
Happy birthday, Dan.
What a great birthday, you know, for
Yeah.
anyone who celebrated this horrible
Yeah.
case for
You're
2.5
welcome,
years.
Diver Dan. How did we
I got
know
a
that
pretty
you
good
wanted
present on
that for your birthday?
Yes. Yeah, let alone those hundreds of dollars we've spent on documents in this case for
And I appreciate
God knows why. That's a lot of folks have donated towards that, and have always come through for us.
You're
So we can
welcome.
pay for those documents.
You're
Yes,
welcome, Blue
especially-
Bacon.
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
I
Blue,
keep up to date on the case
I love you
really
from
cool.
afar. I love you from
hello.
afar. I don't stalk you. I love you from
Oh,
afar.
sure,
Blue,
I may or may not stalk him. Just
Yes.
Well, Blue,
What? Someone-
Blue.
Yes?
In fairness, Gia has learned from her restraining orders from Vlad not to stalk
Yes.
too close.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Touche has a question for you.
don't forget, Blue, he was paying women $50 to play with his chassis in his retail space.
Yes.
Hey,
he
you
has.
know, whatever. As long as you're a consenting adult, you know what you do behind closed doors.
Yep. Yep.
He has this shell of a car, and he has
Yes,
a blue
a picture.
strobe light. Yes. And you get paid for going through the simulation.
Ew.
If I weren't worried about him, based on previous comments he's sent to me, if I wasn't worried about him causing me harm, I would be very tempted to go through that. But that would be a bad idea because I do genuinely worry that he would try to cause me harm. So
What
I
if we
wouldn't
did buddy system?
Yeah. Don't go near him.
No.
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 Get
No.
your money and go. Never deal
No.
with this idiot ever again. It's,
Yeah, I'll be getting my money
Seriously.
from a different way. And
Yes.
not in $50 increments, I'm sure.
yes, get your money because he has no money right now. He's still seeking financing for the stupid board game.
Well, I
He
would
needs.
say not
he-
having the money to finance an entire board game is not the same as not having money. I wouldn't have the money
Well,
to finance that entire thing.
he's been begging for money lately, so let's just leave it at that. Though he just went to New Mexico for an extended stay at somebody's house for a week, so I don't know.
Fancy. I hope he had fun and enjoyed himself.
Yes.
Well, when
he-
Blue gets the money back, he can buy the SS Blue Bacon pilot boat.
That's right. There is a boat I've been looking at, but it's $700,000. It's a gorgeous wooden, two-masted something or other, and it's in Spain, and I want it. And I'm never going to have it because that's insane. But you better believe if I had a spare $700,000 lying around and a crew to crew that thing, that would be where I'd be right now. I'd be living on that ship. Unfortunately, I don't. So I hope whoever
we
does
do know
buy
somebody
it
called
enjoys
Shuggy.
it. What's that?
We do know somebody called Shuggy who can apparently sail a ship. So
I mean, I've always dreamt of being a pirate.
Yeah, it's a piratey ship. It's very nice, and I want it. I just have no reason to own it or to put it in it.
It's a hole in the water you pour money into.
Well, we could always just start a pirate crew and call ourselves the Blue Bacon Pirates.
Or we could just play Steamworks.
Not pirates, but similar. I had this dream, and by dream I mean not. It's not something I actually want to do. It's just something I think would be really funny, in an abstract kind of a way. In Europe, they're like, "Oh, we have this castle, buy it for $1," and "Oh, it's so cheap." And then people are like, "Why isn't anyone buying this?" And it's because it comes with a contract that you have to repair it, and so like you're paying an enormous amount of money. The $1 is just the cost to purchase it, but then you have to honor the contract. And so it's not $1 at all. It's very, very expensive. My thought is, why not do that and then not pay? And then when they come to collect, you're in a castle. What are they going to do?
Huh. We're not going near that because Mr. Someone who we used to work with pulled that same scam, or allegedly.
Thank you for the painful memory, Blue. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
nobody tells me nothing.
Well,
yeah,
it would be worse. It would be worse because if I had a castle-like structure, I'm just going to turn it into the Ohio State version of Alligator Alcatraz.
In Ohio, the place famous for having castles.
Thank you, Dave, for the $5 super chat. Someone posted in his chat about the 15K loss. Lasted about 3 seconds before deletion.
I think I need to report something to him.
I don't want anybody to go and harass him about this. I don't know. I'm taking the higher road here. I'm being very polite about this. Don't harass him.
I don't watch him. Never have. Nope.
I genuinely, you're not going to tickle me pink by doing that by any means. It's not something that I'm going to appreciate. So please don't.
Plus, Chili won't know about this until he checks his mail. He doesn't check online. He never checks online for any of this stuff. He waits till it comes in via postal mail. So it's going to be later this week when he finds out for real.
And he's not in Santa Barbara.
Well, he's back home. He's in Los Angeles now.
But the mail is for the Santa Barbara.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So
soon, Chili will be living in a van down by
the river. Yeah.
Not a barbecue truck.
Well, we did offer him a deal at the end of this that would have reduced the amount he owed in exchange for him just dismissing with prejudice. And not only would it reduce the amount he owed, it probably would have stopped the possibility of pursuing legal damages. In California, basically the way that you recover legal fees is what I've been doing, what my lawyer's been doing, which is sanctions. But at the end of the case, if it's determined that the entire thing was frivolous, dismissed with prejudice, there is a chance. It's a very small window. I don't even know if I'm going to be pursuing it or if my lawyer thinks it's worth pursuing. I genuinely don't know. I'm only bringing this up as sort of an interesting thought experiment. If the case is dismissed with prejudice, and then you go to the judge and say, hey, here is why we believe this case was frivolous from the start, which my lawyer has been filing. He's been putting the filings about gamesmanship and all that sort of stuff. At that point, you might be able to ask for more money in damages and sanctions. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I genuinely have no idea. It might not be anything more than has already been done. However, if he had agreed to dismiss it with prejudice, it might not have allowed someone to go back and say, okay, well, this was, now we want to for him to pay the rest of the legal fees. I don't know if that's accurate. I know someone had said something about that. And I was like, oh, how very interesting. There's a difference between having the judge dismiss with prejudice and then voluntarily dismissing with prejudice. Maybe. again, I haven't confirmed that. I haven't really dug into that because it didn't matter at the time. Now it might matter. But he apparently didn't take the deal because of the minutes. I don't know what his response was if and when it was offered to him. But I suspect he didn't take the deal, which would have reduced the amount he owed and would have shut the case down earlier, but would have had basically the same end result with dismissal of prejudice. So he may have, by not taking that deal, put himself in a worse position. Whether or not I plan on capitalizing on that position, if it's a position that can be capitalized on, I don't know yet. But he made some choices.
Can't your insurance company go after him?
So, yes, because for those of you who don't know,
Subrogation? Can't they subrogate?
So, well, for part of the case, for a lot of the case, we got my insurance, my lawyer and I. We basically went through my homeowner's insurance policy.
Yeah.
And found that it does cover this. And they agreed that they would cover it. They said that they were going to provide their own lawyers because in Washington State, they can do that. And my lawyers argued, no, this is a California case. California law does not allow that. The lawyers that are on it are going to stay on it. And my insurance said, nope, not going to do that. Even though we've admitted that we do cover it, we're not going to cover it the way he said. I had to hire a second lawyer to basically threaten my insurance, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I remember.
So once they said, yes, we are responsible for it, all of the sanctions that are filed for, that money, I believe, goes to them. However, I don't know if they're the ones collecting or if I'm the one collecting it and giving it to them. So right now, my thought is I go after all of it. I take my cut first up until they took over, and then anything I can get after that, I'll slide over to them. If I can't, for whatever reason, get it, I'll contact my insurance and say, hey, guys, balls in your court, have fun. And my understanding is insurance companies are pretty aggressive about it. I don't plan on being too aggressive about it because at the end of the day, if it's too much trouble for me, I'll let them do it. They have professionals that will handle it. So, they can go after him. I don't know what the process is going to be until,
Yeah, if it's got a chance of subrogation, that's where it goes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I may see none of the money, and that's okay. I have plans for that too.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Jim.
Still got some secrets up my sleeve.
Are you going to celebrate tonight?
Probably not tonight. I've been very, very busy in the last month, and I am continuing to be very, very busy this week and this weekend. And then next weekend, maybe I'll have some sort of celebration I'll do. But I'm going to delay the celebration. Plus, it's not technically over yet. I am very happy about this outcome, but it's not quite over. I do want to prepare a statement because I did plan on making a video, and I have to be very careful on how I do it because I don't want to do this again. Basically addressing sort of the timeline of what happened, the strategies that were planned, the strategies that were implemented, and how it played out, just in case this happens to somebody else in the future. That way they sort of have an idea of what they might expect if...
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. Yep.
Not to say that he's going to do this again to anybody else, maybe.
Yeah, pay it forward. Yep,
right?
pay it forward.
But
yep.
If someone, if time repeats itself, it would be nice if people understood what may be beneficial or have options. I like to have options, and I like to make sure other people have options as well.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. And,
a lot of people just panic and cave. You know what I mean? They don't.
Yeah, the Massachusetts case was very helpful. The one that came before mine.
Yeah.
Because it seemed to indicate that discovery was really going to grind everything to a halt. And in the Massachusetts case, the defendants counterclaimed. They went on the offensive. And that was just time and money and it didn't go anywhere. In fact, their claims were dismissed because I think they couldn't establish the necessary $75,000 in damages with the federal court, which is $75,000 more is required in federal court, in these circumstances. So
I didn't go on the offensive. I decided to play entirely defensive because I fully expected it to fall apart in discovery because his claims against me I knew were unprovable because they were false. From where I was sitting, they were false. And that appears to be exactly what happened. So it would be nice, I think, to be able to give that to somebody and say, hey, you know, the world, very carefully, here is what happened with me. Take the advice you think is appropriate for you.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good idea.
You have to play the long game, not the fast game.
Yep.
Yeah. And he tries.
Hey, Facebook, Karen.
He tries to sort of attack the long game by filing a lot of motions, right? Or well,
Yeah.
it seems that way anyway. And there are problems with that too. That going to play the long game is it can be expensive, but in my situation, that appears to have helped. I would think establish that the case is frivolous because now I can go back and look at all these things he filed and go, wow, yeah, that what was the point of that? What was going on?
Yeah, never interrupt him when he's making a mistake.
And that was, there was a lot of it. I sent somebody in Discord earlier today, I think it was in Discord, that I played this defensive. I was just on the fence the entire time, and I essentially let him hurt his own case until it couldn't be pursued anymore. And that's a hard thing to do. I didn't expect it to go for, 2 years? I thought
2.5. 2.5.
Yeah,
Crazy.
so, don't think that I enjoyed this. But it worked. The strategy worked.
Yep.
Guys, I do need to drop, turning the show back over to Phil since it's Phil's night. Blue, congratulations, man. We've been through this
I'll get out of here.
Yep.
Yeah, for so long. So
Yep.
It's nice. But
Yes.
finally see that light at the end of the tunnel.
Take care, all. I will see you on my show tomorrow night.
No cast, just
See ya.
Jim. No cast,
Yes.
just Jim.
Yeah, no cast is Jim. Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
Well,
Well, I
that's
am
what's gonna
turning you
happen
back
now.
over to Phil's show, which he is too highbrow to do Drunk Girl tonight. So
Yes,
good night.
yes, I am. Yes, I am. Good night.
Good night, boss.
Good night, Blue.
Good night, boss. Night, Blue.
Bye,
Bye,
Blue.
Bob. Bye, Blue. Bye, Jim.
Okay, now can we get on with our actual
Yeah.
show that we do?
Yeah.
Hello, Karen.
Hey, Karen!
Yep.
Hey, Karen.
Hey, Facebook, Karen. Again.
So, I have some soft sets. I love these guys. This comes from Old Squishy Gardner, and I wish I could remember the name of this judge, but I can't. But you're gonna love this one.
Thurston County, Washington.
Oh, the guy brings up the 5th edition of Black's Law Dictionary.
Wow.
Oh my
What a
God,
loser.
they've evolved.
But
I know. That's what I thought. They're evolving. They're at least up to the 5th edition.
this is Thurston County,
On the
south of
highways.
Seattle.
Yeah, I just don't remember the judge's name. I want to say Braylick, but I'm not sure that that's correct.
The courts have ruled, and it's in my brief, it's a
Yeah.
right to travel.
That's
And
Mark.
Mr. Black, good morning.
Good morning.
And your criminal charge is dismissed on Friday, is that right? Thursday.
I don't know. Okay, well, thank you. How come I wasn't notified?
Well, that's not what you're here for today. You're here for the traffic infraction. That's what it's for. I don't know.
I thought this was a motion hearing.
It was going to be, but the state made a motion to dismiss your charge.
Okay. So now it's gonna
But
be contested.
Yeah, I'm waiting for your file to open up here. Sometimes our technology lags, so I'm waiting for it to.
I didn't come prepared to contest the infractions.
Well, that'll be easy because you can tell me whether you have insurance or not, but hold on a second,
Sure.
let me just explain. Failure to transfer title, the trip permit, and the driving suspended charges, which are all criminal charges. And those are the ones that you'd filed all the pleadings on, which I've read all your pleadings.
Okay. You have any comments on it? Just curious.
I'll give you my comments here in a moment.
Poor bugger.
And I believe the police report states that I did produce my insurance, but it took me a while to find it.
Do you happen to have a copy of it with you?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Should I approach?
Yeah, please.
To the middle of the big paragraph. Oh, it's on the last paragraph.
Great.
Jesus, what is with that?
Do you have a
dude's
copy
hair?
of whatever you showed the officer by way of the insurance proof?
Yes. Oh, it's on my phone.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you have your phone with you?
Yeah, but I let somebody, one of my employees, take care of that, and he, whenever I need my insurance, I ask him where it is. But it'll take me a while to find it if you need me to.
Well, see if you can find it while I'm reading this.
Bring it up.
Okay, great. Okay, so this is showing insurance for somebody, not you, for a car. I don't think it's the car. It's identified here. Okay, it could be the vehicle. Who's Thomas Harris?
He's the employee that takes care of that stuff. He registers the vehicles, gets insurance for them.
And employee of yours?
Yeah.
And what type of business?
Biodiesel. I go to a gas station and grab him out.
His ticket was April 10th. Remember that.
All right, and then the other thing to note here is that the insurance is purchased the day after the stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at it, 411. Stop was on 4.
Well, I can call. I'm sure it wasn't because when I called him, he produced this instantly. So I can call him and.
And you saw that, right? You saw that it said effective 4/11.
Take another look.
Tell me.
Yeah. Thomas, you're on speakerphone. I'm in court right now. The criminal charges were dismissed, but the no insurance
Still,
charge.
hold on a second.
Remember when I called you when the police stopped me and you sent me a copy of the insurance card?
It was somebody else's name and a different call on the policy as well.
Right.
I hate when that
Well,
happens.
the insurance card looks like it was purchased the day after the stop.
Oh, it maybe it's just been the wrong one. Tell them that tell them we have a different insurance card. We got the vehicle here. It's crazy. There's no way to get an insurance card that quickly when I'm working like that. The only thing I could do was send some proof of insurance that I had in my phone.
That's not how it works.
Look at the judge's expression. Look at the judge's expression, though. He's just like, yeah, okay.
I mean, you got to realize we're working around.
How could this possibly be purchased the next day? You didn't purchase insurance the next day, did you?
No. What they may have done is what they do is they renew the insurance every 6 months or so. And what happens is it automatically prints out ahead of time. And so what may have happened is they give us the card in advance, and then I get it online, and then I just put them in my phone.
I smell lies.
I got so many cards in there that it's hard to find them.
Okay, I think that explains it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, well,
dude, shut up.
I can look up and see where.
Well, let me ask the judge. Your Honor. Okay, that's all, Thomas. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I'll find that the card you displayed is just the automatic renewal card that comes in. Coincidentally, it renewed the day after you got stopped, so I'll go ahead and buy that. Dismiss the ticket. I'll turn that to you. And then you asked me about your criminal charges. They were dismissed without prejudice. Now, without prejudice means they can be refiled. So it's up to the prosecutor to decide whether they're going to refile it.
I prepared something for the court.
Without the prosecutor here, I can't make any decisions. I'll just share some general thoughts with you because I see you've got a subsequent driving suspended ticket. You have a court date, I believe, in August on that. Let me check. So my guess is, since you have a new charge right away, that they may not be willing to dismiss the new charge, and they may resurface the old charge because, as I said, it was dismissed without prejudice, which means it can't be refiled. So right now you're scheduled for court on the Tumwater driving suspended charge on the 5th of August at 1:30 in the afternoon. So without ruling on anything that might be filed on the new case, I'll just share some thoughts with you, which are that the view that you set forth in your pleadings is, we see that occasionally, very similar language. I don't know, sometimes the briefs we get in this line are all read the exact same. Yours is not the exact same, but a lot of exact same. There is no case in the country that says a state cannot regulate the driving, both commercial and private, on any public thoroughfare. So, I read your arguments as to why you believe the freedom of travel means you can drive your private vehicle on public roads, which are paid for by the registration of the vehicle, by the way, in part. That you believe you can drive because you have the constitutional right to travel. That it's never been interpreted that way. So the constitutional right to travel does not apply to overcome the requirements that states have imposed to require you to register your vehicle on an annual basis.
I like this, Judge.
That is it.
Yeah, Touche.
The judge did not say if he has the right to travel when the roads are moist. That will make a difference if the roads are moist.
Are moist,
we need clarification.
Especially in Washington, because it rains a lot in Washington, and the roads do get moist.
Yeah.
And wet and damp and more moist.
And wet. Gusset.
Yes.
And soggy.
I pay my
Wet,
registration
soggy,
fees every
gusset.
year because I have to, in order, if I want to put my car on the road. And I know if I put my car on the road with expired tabs, I'm going to get stopped and I'll have to pay the fine and I'll have to go get my car tabbed. I just know that's the way it works. And that's how the system is set up. So there's no legal argument there. You made it in a sort of a big way, but I think it's a misinterpretation of what you believe the right to travel is. It does not give you the right to travel in any state, not adhering to that state's laws. And every state has a registration law like the state of Washington. So you've asked for my general.
Have you noticed that in courts, a car is referred to as a motor vehicle? Friend riding with you in the car is referred to as a passenger. You're engaged in traffic, and what the problem is when a person registers his private property automobile with the state, he's declaring it a commercial vehicle.
No, that's your interpretation, and I'll just tell you that's not the interpretation shared by the courts. We don't see it that way at all. So the law makes very clear that all of us who have vehicles that we put on our roads, they have to be registered. Doesn't matter whether we have passengers, no passengers, if we drive them ourselves or not, if we're engaged solely in personal business or moving from point A to point B, none of that exempts us from the requirement to appropriately register our vehicles, which is used as a means of supporting the construction of the roads that we drive on.
Yeah, you know what? You said you've seen a few of these. What compels people to do this is the state abusing its power to license drivers, as well as doctors and other professionals. If you don't behave the way the state wants you to in your private life, in your family life, the state, through the family court, can have your license suspended. And that's just strong evidence that
Great
system is not
analogy.
set up to make the road safe, but to control people. And people don't like that.
Yeah, I understand the philosophy behind that. We don't do anything here with suspending licenses or not. We just interpret whether the person has a license or doesn't have a license. That's the only rule of the court there. Now, I will say what you're referring to is the ability of the Department of Licensing to suspend licenses for the failure to pay child support as
It's
ordered.
government support.
What's that?
It's not child support, it's government support.
Okay, well, it's called child support. And that's what it's, you know, if you look on your driving record, you have one of those things there that says, it says failure to pay child support.
Wow.
I understand there's a different way of
Nice
looking at it.
guy.
But it is not directly related to driving. I get that, but the legislature made that. They thought, how can we leverage people to pay what a court has determined they should pay for the support of their children? And they decided that one good way to do it was to leverage the ability to drive. So that's what the legislature decided to do. They created the law. Nobody has determined that law is unconstitutional.
A lot of people have, but they haven't taken it.
Right.
So in family court, the court rules don't apply. You know that. And
Nice
guy. Nice if I understand this guy's philosophy correctly. If I determine it's unconstitutional, I don't have to follow it.
Yep. Yep. And if I don't pay my child support because I'm a scumbucket and they take away my driver's license, it's unconstitutional.
Right. And I decided it was unconstitutional, and so therefore it doesn't really matter what the court says because I decided it's unconstitutional.
Like taking away a doctor's license. Yes.
Who does this? I decided it was unconstitutional. Who does that sound like?
Well,
Lane? Lane? I decided what the court rules were.
Yep. Yep.
It sounds like every frauditor in history.
Right.
process is streamlined. So your driver's license can be suspended through a court procedure where it's a free-for-all. I've seen it.
It's called punishment, asshole.
Yeah. So I like I said, I understand the philosophy you're indicating. I'll just, when the case comes to me on a driving suspended charge, I look to see if your license is active or if you don't have the privilege to drive on the state. And you view it as a right. The law views it as a privilege, and the privilege is enacted if you are properly registered and insured.
Well, it's a privilege to operate a motor vehicle on the highways, but the courts have ruled, and it's in my brief, it's a right to travel by your automobile, by your private property automobile.
There's no court. Like I said, you can look all you want, but there is nobody has ever found a case that says a court upheld the ability of somebody to drive in whatever state on public roads.
Well, driving is a commercial term too.
Okay. To operate a motor vehicle in any regard.
That's even more a commercial term. Look at it.
To operate your car. No, there's no case that says you can operate your car.
Using a business machine on a public utility.
No, that doesn't. No. Operate means I'm operating my computer. I'm operating.
That's a colloquial.
My pencil.
That's colloquial.
Oh my God.
Then you're pushing your example into
you look at Black's 5th edition, you'll see that operate means using a business machine for gain.
A business machine.
Okay. I disagree with that.
But Black's Law 5th edition. At least he's moved up from the 2nd edition. He's up to the 5th. There are like 14 or 15 editions right now.
Business machine.
What he's doing is he's using the ambiguity of the English language,
right,
to try to apply one meaning of a word out of many.
Yep.
As if it is the only meaning of a word. I don't know who else does that. Reminds me of something.
Do you mean a laneism?
Yeah. What does remove mean? Define remove.
Right.
Yep.
And I don't think you'll find any cases.
Okay,
So,
I appreciate your input.
All right.
Thank you.
But we'll see you on the 5th of August.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yes, Mrs. Tom, I turned my volume up a little bit.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, now I got one from, I gotta find which one it is. I think it's this one. Yes, with Judge Shackelford. I love her.
God, I love him.
Shackelford.
Her. Yeah.
And good afternoon, Your Honor. For the record, Matthew Sick to the people.
Okay, and I have a note on here. People are requesting the case be set for a jury trial, and the defendant wants to fire the MIDC attorney. Is that accurate?
Yeah, he's attractive.
You asking to represent yourself?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm representing myself.
Okay. Okay, you have a right to represent yourself, but I want to make sure you understand this, Mr. Page. You have a right to do that, okay? But you understand that attorneys go to law school and they study the rules of evidence. And if a person who is not a lawyer wants to proceed in a case, they're held to the same standard. You have to play within the same rules as a lawyer when you represent yourself. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Page, I want you to see this. This is the Michigan court rules. This book is the rules that that govern how we do trials, how evidence is admitted, how questions are asked, how trials proceed, and I'm going to assume you've not studied that book. Do you understand that if you go to trial and you represent yourself, that you will be held to the same standard and will be required to comply with those rules?
I understand.
Okay, is there anything else you want to put on record?
Yes.
In other words, the judge
right,
is
go
like,
ahead.
you're a moron, mate.
I, Zachary Page, lowercase
Oh my
AHARYPAG,
God.
a living man and one of the people of the Constitutional Republic of Michigan.
Oh my God,
Appearing
Michigan
today
has
to
so
jurors.
many of these people.
I'm here under special appearance and under duress to address this matter.
And hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got not one, but two sovereign citizens featured in two different courtrooms. The second case is one we've been following.
Under these trust agreements, public officials act as trustees and are bound by their oaths of office to serve the people, the beneficiaries. Their primary duty is to uphold and protect the inherent and unalienable rights of the people, as mandated by these constitutions.
Okay, all right, Mr. Page.
I have more.
I know, you can submit it in
I
writing.
know you have
have
more.
more, sir.
I know you do.
I don't, if you
No, I
want to
know
be
you
a
do.
sovereign
I
citizen
know
today,
you
that's
do.
fine with me. All right, but we're gonna get through this court proceeding, and I want you to know you're gonna behave at trial. I'm not, you are bound by the laws of the state of Michigan, and that's how we'll be proceeding. So, sir, as to arraignment, how do you plead? You can plead guilty, you can plead not guilty,
It's just the
or you
arraignment.
can stand mute.
Yep.
Yeah, he couldn't wait to spew it.
Could you repeat
Yep.
the last part, please?
You could stand mute. That means you don't say anything and I enter a not guilty plea for you.
He doesn't have
So
ability.
guilty, not guilty, or stand mute.
I'm pleading not guilty to this.
Oh, you can definitely tell this guy's new to the sovereign citizen playbook. Not only is he reading his so-called manifesto like it's his first time seeing it, but he's mispronouncing half the words. It's not sui juris, it's sui juris. Latin for someone who clearly doesn't understand what they're talking about.
Try to go over a few things with you to make sure you understand them, okay? You're
Yeah.
charged with interference with police authority. There is an allegation that on November 4th of 2024, while traveling southbound Telegraph near Brest Street in the city of Taylor that you engaged in behavior that obstructed or interfered with police authority. That is the allegation against you. This is a misdemeanor. It is punishable maximum by up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. Sir, you have the right under the Constitution to have a trial by a jury and to have the assistance of an attorney. And you have a right to an attorney appointed at public expense if you are indigent, meaning you don't have the money to pay for an attorney. And if the offense requires a minimum jail sentence, there is no minimum jail sentence on this case, or the court determines it might sentence you to jail. It's my understanding that you have waived your right to a court-appointed attorney. You've already put that on record and you intend on representing yourself. You also have a right to a trial. And at that trial, you have the following rights: to call witnesses to speak for you at trial, and you can get an order signed by the court to require witnesses to come to court. You have a right to see, hear, and question all witnesses against you at trial, to be a witness for yourself or to remain silent. And if you chose not to be a witness on your own behalf, the prosecuting official may not comment on your refusal to testify. You also have a right to be presumed innocent unless proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Those are your rights under the United States and Michigan Constitution. Do you understand what I just read to you, sir?
Yeah.
I'm not asking if you agree. I'm asking if you understand. And is that a yes?
Yeah, I understand.
It's clear this guy spent last night Googling how to get out of jail free and is now repeating the first thing he found, word for word. A more practiced sovereign citizen, or as they often refer to themselves behind bars, sui juris, would never enter a plea or even remain silent in a calculated way. But this is amateur hour at best.
So, Mr. Valentine, would you unmute, join us, or if I remember correctly, you'd like to be referred to as American National Valentine?
President.
And is that how you'd like me to refer to you?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
this is another one on
Okay.
Thurston County.
I remember that. So, sir, there was a warrant issued for your arrest back December 6th. You had posted bond on
Hold
the
on.
previous warrant. Yeah.
Yep.
Will this guy write his briefs with Crayola?
I believe he will, but it will be a red Crayola because, well, that is, the closest to matching his red blood thumbprint.
Okay.
And red
At
goes
a
fast.
hearing, and that's what we're here about, is we're still pending trial. And you weren't, the pretrial services violation, that's right. We've got a positive UA from November 1st for THC and cocaine, November 20th, a dilute
Well, he's going big time.
one, but concerned about THC and cocaine, November 22nd, a UA positive for cocaine. So that's why we're here today. And I remember in the past that you were representing yourself. Is that still your intention?
Yes.
Okay. So let me turn to the status to this warrant issue, and then I'll turn back to you. And Mr. Weston?
Your Honor, this time the state would be asking that the current bail be increased to $10,000. It was previously, the state previously asked that amount at arraignment. The court previously imposed $15,000. That somewhere throughout the process, the court decreased the bail to $5,000. He posted the bond for that amount, and which I believe he was released on October 29th, and within a month we have all these pretrial violations. And so the state has substantial concerns about him not following the release conditions that he's required to follow, especially being on pretrial release for DUI. And so the state's asking that the court impose $10,000 bail at this time, and that he either posted or turned himself in.
So, Mr. Valentine?
So I object the state motion. The release conditions that were set were not returned. Ooh,
I can hear you. I can.
okay. Yeah, the release conditions that were set were not returned to its original state. The release conditions were only changed because the 3 charges were added. And once the 3 charges were dismissed, our release conditions were supposed to be returned to personal recognizance. There was other individuals when I was in custody that were in the same situation. The state brought charges against them, but the state didn't have the physical evidence yet, and they released those individuals on their personal recognizance and waited for the results for the.
Now here's a good thing. This guy actually might have a case if he knew how to present it.
Yep. I was thinking the same thing.
But of course, he has no idea how to present it.
Yep.
Get a lawyer.
The evidence to pursue those charges. But with me, the state is being prejudiced and tried to keep me with strict release conditions, even though the charges were dismissed.
Or are you sure you understand her? Because Judge Shackelford doesn't exactly look like a bridge, so I'm not sure how you're standing under anything. It was at that moment I realized.
All the evidence, all the discovery on this matter, or is there toxicology reports that are pending, or?
Based on my knowledge, Your Honor, there's no blood draw in this case. The state is ready to proceed. It was American National Valentine that did request the continuance of trial confirmation on 11/8.
So you've got everything. You're
Yeah,
not
we got
waiting
everything.
for tox reports. Okay. All right. So back to you, Mr. Valentine. Anything else? Or I'm sorry, American
Yes.
National Valentine.
The state was awaiting the toxicology report for case number 4A0027328. Those 3 charges that were added on to the case was the reason why I was in on the ankle monitor and working with friendship services. And so since those charges were dropped, I'm only on the case for my DUI, my first DUI. I never had any previous DUIs. This is my first DUI. I was only brought into custody for the extra charges that were added on, and those charges were dismissed. But the release conditions were never changed.
So
even my bail, they didn't even lower the bail. I had to argue with the court just to get the bail lowered, even though the charges were dismissed.
So this one is alleged from November 13th of 2021. And then I see that there was a January 1st of 2024 that was dismissed. And now it looks like that has been refiled with an arraignment date scheduled for January 14th. Don't know if you've gotten that in the mail yet
Yes,
or
I
not.
have.
Okay,
Yes, I have.
So, all right. So you're right. These conditions are only about the case alleged from November 13th of 2021. Gotcha. All right. And that's the court order on that matter. 1A730693 was the pretrial services requirement and the requirement of sobriety. All right. So you're saying that, and tell me if I'm wrong, you're saying that I should release you, set this on for trial, and what about conditions of release?
So the conditions to release, I should be back PR'd as I originally was with this charge. If on the other case, like how you said the case was refiled, it's going to be in January. If the state wants to set, release conditions for that charge, that should be done on that case, but they're 2 separate cases now.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Have you ever considered that your bail situation might have more to do with your refusal to recognize why?
Yep, it does. And there was, all right. I guess I don't agree with you. There was a request to October 28th to change the release conditions, and that was denied. I guess that was me from the court's docket. That's what I'm reading. And so that was considered already, and that was denied. So, and now I have these allegations from pretrial services. So, all right, Mr. Valentine, we've had difficulty with getting compliance while you're on release. We've had difficulty with getting into court. And so I am going to increase that bail amount to, because 5,000 apparently isn't working.
The guy keeps doing the same dumb things. Why don't the court trust him to just go out and do it again?
Right, and that's what they're
Let
and
him
that's
loose so he
right.
can hurt somebody. You know.
Right. So now they're going to increase the bail because of the violations. Like it's great that he's arguing that part of his original charges were dropped.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the fact you're doing cocaine you're on bail.
Yeah.
And,
and they refiled part of it.
Right.
No, let me go. I don't need to pay you money.
Right, but okay, so that's actually if that's like okay, so you have several charges, right? They dropped some of them. So part of your bails is figured out on the number of counts you have. So if you reduce the number of counts, then it should reduce the amount of bail. Okay, all of that's a fine argument. The fact that there are two cases is a fine argument. What he's skipping over completely is they're there now because he's on a bond violation for doing THC and cocaine several times.
He wants to be released on the I swear I'll come back.
right. On PR bond. I want to go to PR bond, because well, I had a cash bond. I couldn't maintain the bail conditions, but release me the PR bond, and I swear I'll do fine.
Now, see, I don't think he can write his own briefs because he ate all the crayons they gave him.
Well, by the sound of it, he might have smoked
And I don't know what else to do. Pretrial services supervision isn't working. And so at this stage, a 10,000 cash or bond bail needs to be posted. You're appearing on Zoom. So either post that 10,000 cash or bond bail by Friday at 3, or you're in custody by Friday at 3. So you make that decision. And then we'll have a hearing on, I'm gonna set this, where are we? I'm just gonna set everything for that January 14 day. And so that we've got everything together. What time that is, but you either, as I said, 10,000 cash or bond bail to be posted no later than 3 o'clock on Friday the 20th, or you're in custody by Friday the 20th at 3, no later than 3. But we'll set this hearing. The next hearing will be January 14th at 2:30. It's a pretrial. So, any questions about your obligation there?
Yes. What are the nature and cause of these charges?
Oh my God.
You're charged
Here
with
we
driving
go.
while spending the 3rd degree. The complaints are in the court file.
And what is the criminal jurisdiction like? What's the nature of the causes? Is it under admiralty jurisdiction or common law jurisdiction?
Washington State, RCW 4661. Violation of the state law. You're in Thurston County District Court, which has jurisdiction over you, as it's alleged to have occurred in Thurston County.
But I'm asking, what's the nature and cause of the charge? Is it under a common law? Is it under common law or admiralty?
It's under Washington State law.
Don't you have the duty to make the nature and cause clear to me, ma'am?
I have.
Do I not have a right to know the nature of the cause?
Yeah, and I have.
It's the only reason I even know what you're being charged with is because the judge clearly stated it on the record, a DUI from 2021, and a second.
Do you think there's something more? A bill of particulars might be something that would be useful to you to send to the prosecuting attorney's office, but
I requested
that's what I told you today.
I've requested a bill of particulars, and I've requested the case transcript, and I've gotten neither.
Yeah, it's not going to be transferred. There's nowhere to transfer it. You're in the correct jurisdiction. You're in Thurston County District Court.
I said I asked for a case transcript. and a bill of,
Transcript.
case transcript and a bill of particulars, and I still haven't gotten it.
All right, we'll follow that up with the prosecuting attorney for the bill of particulars, and then the transcript. That would be from the court if you wanted an audio recording of the proceedings. All right,
Still
so.
haven't made clear the nature and cause of the charges, ma'am.
All right, well, I think I have. So you're to turn yourself in to Thurston County Corrections no later than tomorrow by 3 p.m. or impose 10,000 cash or bond. We'll have our next hearing January 14th, 2:30. And you stay clean and sober and law abiding, and you're still on pretrial services supervision if you're out of custody and you comply with them.
So is the prosecution under common law or under admiralty?
We're not going to go in circles here. You have
I'm
an
just asking
obligation
you
to be.
I'm just asking you,
I
as
understand.
my
I've
right, is it
answered.
not my right to know the nature and cause of the charges?
Yep. I've answered you,
so-
Mr.
so
Valentine.
which-
I'm not going to go in circles. You're in custody by Friday. You're post 10,000 cash or bond. We'll see you January 14th. That's all for today.
So why can't we go back to the original release conditions?
I've already made that ruling, sir.
Because you can't abide
And it
by the
was
conditions.
a void ruling. It's a void judgment.
Well, so he's not getting his way, so he's going to go with this. You know, you're not telling me the nature of the cause and all of that shit, right? To frustrate the court system, and then that doesn't work. He's going to go back to the why can't I get my original?
Because he can't stop breaking the law, asshole.
Right. Like I just, oh God.
So long, Mr. Valentine. We've talked. Be in custody by Friday or post your 10,000 cash or bond. We're done here.
So you're not going to honor your oath. To
We're
uphold the
done, Mr.
Constitution.
Valentine. I'm honoring my oath, and I've done exactly what I'm to do by state.
Okay. Well, I also like that at the end there, she's just stopped calling him American State National. Like, you know, she's trying to be nice to him, you know, and accommodate him. And then in the end, when he's doing all this crap, she's just like, all right, Mr. Valentine.
I think you need to ask him, were you on a boat at sea when you broke the law? If you were not, it is not admiralty. Are you in the military serving on a, you know, a boat? No, then not admiralty.
He wasn't even, see, I don't even think he was on a land yacht.
But
you know, like he was driving like a Ford LTD or something, or, you know, like a Cadillac or something, you know, something like that, you know, like, or I used to have a 72 Mercury Grand Marquis, right? You know, I mean, that's at least a land yacht.
Well, I think I know why Stids like to bring up admiralty law. Because they're not driving a car, they're driving a douche canoe. Therefore, they think maritime law applies.
Yes, they do, or at least the law of the river.
Yep.
Well, that's our show tonight.
Down
It's been
by
an
the river.
exciting show. It's been an exciting
Yes.
show. We've had breaking
Was.
news.
We had blue bacon.
We had blue bacon, and he said moist. So,
Yes.
you know, in that sultry
Yes.
voice of his,
Yes.
it even made me moist. It
Yes.
even made me moist.
Why
I
do I
bet.
think Mark will make a clip of that?
You might. We had Mark, the sarcastic wop hug.
Yeah.
We had NCR for a while, and we even had that hobo Jim.
Yep.
What a
Yep.
show! What a show!
Yeah.
What a action-packed Monday.
Yep.
Action-packed Monday.
Yep.
Touche. Any last words?
That's all, folks.
Yeah. Mark.
Yes.
Moist.
See what a better host I am. I let you get it out. Jim would have cut you off.
You'd have just ended the show right there.
Yes, exactly.
Hey, Mark,
Night, everybody.
stay moist.
Moist.
Moist. Good night, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to hit that like button on the way out.